In the unforgiving grip of the late 19th century, the nascent settlements, clinging to the rugged slopes and valleys of the American and Canadian Rockies, faced an adversary far more formidable than any bandit or rival prospector: the relentless, suffocating power of winter snows. These were not mere flurries. These were blizzards of epic proportions, dumping feet, then dozens of feet of snow in a single storm, transforming vital mountain passes into impassable white walls. The very lifeblood of these isolated communities, the railroads, became their most vulnerable link. Without the trains, supplies dwindled, communications ceased, and the spectre of starvation loomed large over thousands of pioneers, miners, and railway workers. It was a battle against nature's rawest fury, a struggle for survival where human ingenuity and sheer will were constantly tested. The railroads, the arteries of progress pushing westward, were paradoxically the most susceptible to this frozen onslaught. Tracks laid with immense effort and expense could vanish overnight under drifts reaching 20, 30, even 50 feet high. Conventional snowplows, often just wedge-shaped attachments on the front of locomotives, were utterly useless against such monumental barriers. They would simply derail, becoming trapped themselves, adding to the growing crisis. When a line was blocked, not only did the movement of goods and people cease, but the very engines and crews sent to clear the way often became stranded, exacerbating the problem. Food, coal for heating, medical supplies, mail, everything essential for life in these remote outposts was cut off. The isolation was absolute, and the consequences dire. Stories of entire towns facing famine, of desperate measures taken to ration dwindling provisions, became all too common. The dream of conquering the West seemed to buckle under the weight of the snow. It was in this desperate context that a new breed of machine was conceived, born out of necessity and a bold vision for overcoming the seemingly insurmountable. The rotary snowplow, a marvel of late 19th century engineering, was the answer. But among these early snow-eaters, one particular design stood out, a true behemoth that would earn its legendary status: the 180-ton steam monster. This wasn't just a plow, it was a self-contained, purpose-built engine of destruction, designed to chew through the densest, most compacted snow and ice with an almost terrifying efficiency. Its sheer size and power were unprecedented, a testament to the era's relentless pursuit of progress, even in the face of nature's most formidable challenges. The very idea of such a machine was revolutionary, a gamble on technology to defy the elements and secure the future of the Rocky Mountain frontier. The core of this mechanical marvel was its massive rotating cutter head, a giant wheel studded with sharp blades and scoops, driven by a dedicated steam engine. Unlike the simple wedge plows that push snow aside, the rotary literally devoured it, pulverizing it into a fine spray and ejecting it far from the tracks. This was crucial in deep cuts and tunnels where snow had nowhere to go but up. The 180-ton variant was particularly impressive, requiring not one, but often two or even three powerful locomotives pushing it from behind to provide the necessary traction and momentum. The crew operating this beast faced immense danger and discomfort. Inside the cab, the heat from the steam engines was stifling, the noise deafening, and the vibrations constant. Visibility was often zero, as snow and steam obscured everything. Yet, these brave men, often working in shifts around the clock, were the unsung heroes, guiding the snow eater through blizzards and drifts that would have defeated lesser machines and men. The operational challenges were immense. Fueling the rotary required vast quantities of coal and water, which themselves had to be transported to remote locations. Breakdowns were frequent, given the brutal conditions and the immense stresses placed on the machinery. Repairs in sub-zero temperatures, often in the middle of nowhere, were a test of endurance and ingenuity. Derailments, though less common than with wedge plows, were catastrophic, requiring days or even weeks to clear and repair. The sheer force exerted by the rotary could tear up tracks if not handled with extreme care. Furthermore, the constant threat of avalanches loomed over every operation, a silent, deadly menace that could sweep away an entire train in an instant. Despite these perils, the Snow Eater crews pressed on, driven by the knowledge that lives depended on their success. The impact of the 180-ton Snow Eater on the communities of the Rockies was nothing short of transformative. When news spread that the rotary was on its way, it brought a wave of relief and hope to isolated towns. The sight of its plume of steam rising above the snowdrifts, followed by the roar of its engines and the spectacular spray of pulverized snow, was a beacon of salvation. It meant that fresh food, mail from loved ones, and vital supplies were coming. It meant that the lines of communication would be re-established, connecting them once more to the outside world. The Snow Eater didn't just clear tracks. It cleared the path for commerce, for communication, and for the very survival of these frontier settlements. It allowed the railroads to operate year-round, fundamentally changing the economic and social landscape of the mountain regions. Without it, the dream of a transcontinental railway might have remained just that, a dream, perpetually thwarted by winter's icy grip. The legend of the Snow Eater grew with each successful campaign against the snow. Stories of its heroic efforts became part of the local folklore, passed down through generations. It wasn't just a machine. It was a symbol of human perseverance, a testament to the power of innovation in the face of overwhelming natural forces. Its presence allowed for the continued growth and prosperity of towns like Leadville, Aspen, and countless others that relied entirely on the rail lines. The ability to reliably transport ore from mines, timber from forests, and agricultural products to markets even in the depths of winter solidified the economic viability of these regions. The Snow Eater ensured that the Rockies, despite their formidable challenges, would not only be settled but would thrive. However, the story of the Snow Eater is not without its darker chapters. The relentless push to keep lines open often led to tragic accidents. Crews, exhausted and working in whiteout conditions, sometimes made fatal errors. There were instances where the rotary, unable to cope with an unexpected obstacle or a sudden shift in the snow, would derail or become hopelessly stuck, sometimes for days, leaving its crew vulnerable to the elements. The sheer power of the machine, while its greatest asset, also made it incredibly dangerous. Blades could break, steam pipes could burst, and the immense pressure of the snow could crush anything in its path. The human cost of operating these machines was high, a stark reminder of the sacrifices made to tame the wilderness. The legacy of the 180-ton Snow Eater extends far beyond its operational years. It represents a pivotal moment in the history of railway engineering and the settlement of the American West. Its design principles influenced subsequent generations of snow removal equipment, and its success proved that even the most extreme environmental challenges could be overcome with sufficient ingenuity and determination. The stories of its battles against the blizzards continue to inspire, reminding us of an era when humanity faced nature head-on, armed with steam, steel, and an unyielding spirit. It was a machine that literally carved a path through the impossible, ensuring that the promise of the West could be realized, even when buried under tons of snow. The Snow Eater was more than just a piece of machinery. It was a lifeline, a symbol of resilience, and a testament to the indomitable human spirit. It embodied the era's belief in progress and the power of engineering to overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles. Its thunderous roar and the spectacular plumes of snow it ejected became synonymous with salvation for those trapped by winter's fury. It was a mechanical titan that stood against the vast, silent power of the mountains, ensuring that the vital flow of life-sustaining goods continued, preventing countless communities from succumbing to the harsh realities of starvation and isolation. The 180-ton snow eater truly was the steam monster that saved the Rockies from starvation, etching its place in history as a legend of the rails.